Hello there and a warm welcome to People's Imbizo, brought to you by African News Network. Thank you so much for joining us. As usual, I'm your host, Audrey Chimwanda. Today the topic that we'll be discussing is the issue of illegal alcohol trade. We'll also touch on underage drinking. The South African government claims that they're losing billions in tax when it comes to illegal alcohol trade. We're of course coming to you from Mpumalanga. We are in Witbank, and I've got a panel as usual. I'll ask them to quickly introduce themselves. You're at home are welcome to join in the conversation. Our Twitter handle is @ANN7TV. I'll start with you, so please quickly introduce yourself and tell us which department you're coming from.
Okay, good day, Sis Audrey. My name is Derek Skosana from Emalahleni Local Municipality, a member of the Mayoral Committee responsible for community services.
Thank you. And ma'am?
Good day, colleagues. Audrey. I'm Colonel Maureen Pretorius. I'm from the South African Police Services, and I'm with the Department Firearms, Liquor and Second-Hand Goods Services.
Okay, thank you, Colonel. And you, sir?
I am Joseph Mabuza, representing the Department of Community Safety, Security and Liaison in Mpumalanga as Director responsible for communications.
Right. Thank you, panel. Of course, as usual, we have community members that will be crossing live to in a few minutes. They can engage us and talk to us about how illegal alcohol consumption is affecting them in their communities. But for now, I'll start with the panel. I'll start with you, Colonel Pretorius. The issue of alcohol and crime cannot really be separated, can it? How much of that illegal consumption is associated with crime rate in this community?
In principle, if we go and look at research done by the Medical Research Council and various other departments and institutions, we find that there is a lot of connotation between violence and alcohol, because I've tested most of the clients or these that have come in, and they found to be under the influence of liquor, as we call it liquor, not alcohol as such. So there, in principle, if we look at research, there is a connotation between the two.
Right. And just looking at the community, Mr. Skosana, I'll come to you. How is illegal, not just illegal alcohol consumption, just excessive alcohol consumption, how much of that is a problem in this community? How does it affect family interactions, even just as a community?
No, thanks, Sis Audrey. Yes, of course, the liquor abuse in Emalahleni does affect us a lot due to the mushrooming of these illegal operations of taverns and all those things. And they had a contribution in terms of crime statistics in the area, because when people have consumed more, you will find that there is some acts of violence, acts of criminality, acts of abuse to other people. So yes, there is a negative impact to our community and the society at large.
Mr. Mabuza, illegal taverns in this community, do you see a lot of that?
Indeed, there are many taverns that are illegal in the province. However, the challenge is not only on those illegal taverns, but those that have licenses, but you find that they don't comply with the terms and conditions that are stipulated in their licenses. Hence, the provincial government, through the cabinet, took a decision some time ago that those taverns that are legally operated should be shut down, and those that are located closer to schools, churches, we should come up with a plan to make sure that we also close them. Hence, we have started with the programs whereby we're going to sensitize the liquor sellers about their rights and what should not be done when they do have licenses.
But what is the biggest challenge? Is it underage drinking, or is it the liquor licenses that you have the owners that are not complying to the trading hours?
Well, it is a combination of factors, including the issue of underage drinking, because you'll find that tavern owners do allow people who are underage to access alcohol in their premises. They sometimes buy them, and some of them, they also use minors to sell alcohol in their premises. So those are some of the challenges that we see whenever we go around the province inspecting those taverns. However, we do that with the Mpumalanga Liquor Authority because they are key in these issues.
Mr. Skosana, there's like what Mr. Mabuza has alluded to, the Parliament was asked to decide on a few rules and regulations, laws rather, to regulate the issue of liquor licensing, raising the age of drinking, legal age of drinking from 18 to 21. Do you think those are some of the factors that could curb this scourge that we're seeing?
Well, I think partly that can assist, because if you check these kids, especially at the age of 18, they are still school-going kids. We are still expecting them to be at school at that age. So I think the new regulations will assist us a lot to say we must cap this age to 21 years of age. I think it will assist a lot.
And just looking at the, the underage drinkers, is it mostly the girls or the boys that are having this challenge? I don't mean to put any gender on the spot here, but I'm just really curious to see what the problem is.
Well, nowadays we cannot differentiate because it's a combination of both. Yeah, both boys and girls, they indulge in liquor a lot, especially the underage, and which is a worrying factor, of course. That as government, I think we need to take serious steps to cap such.
Yeah,
yes.
I suppose the government can only do so much. Let me come to you, Colonel Pretorius. Where do you come in as the South African Police Service when it comes to these illegal taverns that are, sprucing up everywhere and all this underage drinking that we're seeing? Where do you fit into that?
Thank you for the question. In terms of the liquor legislation, let's talk about Mpumalanga. In your liquor legislation provides for licensed premises, which is licensed by the Mpumalanga Liquor Board as such. But in principle, where the police comes in is that we conduct what we call inspections at these taverns and liquor stores, pubs, clubs, wherever. And where that liquor store, or let's say the tavern, is licensed, we look at, is that tavern owner complying with the conditions of the license? As my colleague said, it says you shouldn't sell liquor to a person under the age of 18 years. However, when it comes to selling liquor to a person under the age of 18 years, I think we must take one step back. And that is, it should start at home as well. Responsibility can't just be with the liquor board or the tavern owner as well. We all, and the police, we all have our responsibilities within our respective environments. Firstly, the parents shouldn't send your children to a liquor store to go and buy liquor. Shouldn't send your child to a liquor store, to a tavern to go and buy liquor. That's the first thing. The other thing is, then the tavern owner, he or she should know what is the condition of the license. For instance, are you aware of the fact that you can't sell liquor to a minor? And the principle, what we also find in practice, is that children go to, or let's say youth, go to a tavern, but they don't buy the liquor themselves. They get somebody else to buy it for them. So the police's main responsibility is to ensure the compliance of the liquor trade or the tavern or the liquor store owner. And then also we have to take one step back, looking at our parents and our young children. They must take responsibility as well. Then it comes to the liquor boards, ensuring when they issue a license, is there conditions on that license? Because if a liquor store or a tavern keeps on selling liquor or contravenes, what can happen? For instance, the license can be suspended. Or if it keeps on, that license can be taken away, because with a liquor license comes a great deal of responsibility.
Of course, yeah. I think you raised a very important point, that it also comes from home. You need to have those moral values instilled in you by your parents, and we'll cross the audience in a few minutes to get their reaction on that. I just want to touch on the liquor licensing operators. I know we don't have the department on the panel today, but I think Mr. Mabuza, you can help us with that. What responsibility do they have? I know there's some that have come up and said, we'll pump in money into alcohol abuse awareness, doing these programs within societies to conscientize them on the dangers of alcohol abuse.
Exactly, that is part of the answer to the question that you have raised. We are currently in the process where we are visiting all the municipalities in the province. 2 weeks ago, we were here at Emalahleni and yesterday in Bushbuckridge, but the target now is the people who are selling alcohol those who have licenses and those who do not have licenses, so that we talk to them first. They know their responsibility because they are part of their communities. They should not be looking at maximizing profit only, but then they also have a responsibility to make sure that the people that are consuming alcohol, those are people who will come back next week and buy alcohol from them. And those people, they do have a responsibility to go to work and support their families. So it's very critical to look at this issue as a value chain, that if I am with a person today who's consuming alcohol at my premise, I must take care of that person for him or her to come back next week or the other day. Because if you look at this thing, sometimes you'll be happy to see a person sitting with you here drinking alcohol from 6 until the next morning. However, you don't know what will happen when the person leaves your premises. He might be hit by a car or involved in an accident and many people are killed. So who's going to come back and buy alcohol tomorrow? Who's going to support the families of the deceased? So we must be responsible as the citizen of the country and the province, not only looking at maximizing profit.
But some would argue that the issue of taverns and shebeens is really a culture that you find in the townships. That's been there since the beginning of time. And some analysts say that it's very unlikely that township communities will follow these new laws. Is that a fair assessment, do you think, Mr. Skosana?
Yeah, well, we are saying with these new legislations, one is municipality, our role at most is to make sure that before a person can apply for a license in the province, we need also to make our comments in terms of the process, whether the person has rezoned the area, and also the issue of proximity, as Mabuza has said. You'll find that there's a school next to where you want to establish your tavern. So all those conditions in your application, the municipality has got a role to comment before the province can whether allow or disallow the approval of such a license.
Right.
Yes.
Colonel Pistorius, the consequences of excessive drinking, we talk of fetal alcohol syndrome disorder in females, of course, driving under the influence, binge drinking, domestic violence. We see a lot of that is perpetuated by the issue of excessive abuse of alcohol. How much of that are you seeing?
Thank you. If you go and inspect the taverns or pubs or clubs, doesn't matter which outlets, you will, especially late at night, you'll see, if you enter that place, you can see the challenge is you see intoxication not in level of, let's say, youngsters. You also see the level of intoxication in your gogos, your old people as well, your older people, which is a challenge. In principle, that's why I said, coming back to the responsibility of alcohol consumption, it starts with the individual. You as an individual should know, if I use one beer or consume one beer, what is my level of intoxication going to be? You have a person that will consume one beer and nothing happens. You have people that consume 10. But the principle is, coming back what my colleague said, in terms of law, the law says, one of the things the law says, you cannot sell liquor to an intoxicated person. That comes back to our liquor traders again. Is our liquor traders aware of that condition, that you cannot sell liquor to an intoxicated person? And are we adhering that, or are we just allowing it, it's a sale, so we just continue to sell? So you see high levels of intoxication when you visit these outlets, which in principle, it's not just about violence, but it's affecting the incomes of families as well.
Of course, you're at home and welcome to join in the conversation. If you have just joined us, we're coming to you from Mpumalanga. We're talking about the issue of illegal alcohol trade, of course, underage drinking, the effects of alcohol abuse, also how it affects us here in communities. We're coming to you from Witbank. I have a panel with me that are helping us discuss this. The community is here as well. You at home can use the Twitter handle at ANN7TV if you have any contributions that you would like to share with us today.